Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Arise News analyst Emmanuel Efeni. Great Malabite, good morning.
Good morning, Ruben. Good morning, Rufai.
Morning.
Good morning, Victoria, Tundu, MQ.
Good morning, Mr. Feni.
We start the review this day, Nigeria's newspaper of record. Now, the lead story, Buhari proposes new amendments to PIA nominates regulatory boards, seeks expansion of upstream, midstream memberships, appoints Komolafe CEO of URC, retains DPROs and Wolu, removes petroleum finance ministries from agencies board, sends EFCC board nominees for approval. Yes, barely 37 days after the president assented to the PIB making it an act. The president has come up with a rush of amendments to be effected by the National Assembly. Quite pungently, some of the very controversial issues were not featured in the amendment, i.e. 3%, 30% for the basin exploration. But the president has also made appointments, and for the upstream, the president nominated Ibrahim Modibo as chairman, while Mr. Gbenga Komolafe was selected as the chief executive officer. Hassan Gambo was chosen as executive commissioner of finance and administration, while Ms. Rose Ndong was nominated executive commissioner exploration and acreage management, amongst other appointments that have been made by the president. Now, perhaps in the course of effecting these amendments, I'm sure others will try to push for other amendments that have been clamored for by different stakeholders. Now, if we look at the Guardian newspaper, also on this report, experts divided over NNPC board as Buhari writes Senate to amend PIA. Buhari proposes structural amendments to Petroleum Act 2021. Stakeholders express disappointment, raise concerns over investors' confidence. Nigeria's oil gas sector may be business as usual despite PIA. Some experts are saying increased percentage on PIA profits to host communities. Yoruba Forum canvasses. Yes, we'll see another round of canvassing by a number of groups on this PIA amendment. Now, also on the front page of the Guardian newspaper, below the photograph, Northern region in crisis needs help to avert Afghanistan scenario. El-Rufai, the governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, pleads, says populist anti-grazing laws by southern governors not implementable. Southern presidency can rebuild the north. Ohanize replies, NEF. NEF's position capable of setting Nigeria on fire, Gani Adams Yoruba group say. Now, let's look at other newspapers. Now, the leadership newspaper, still on the PIA, the lead story, 36 days after SNPMB, 6th amendment to PIA. But above, just below the masthead, the story there, 2 of 10 employed Nigerians out of job in 2020, according to a report. A new report released yesterday by the United Nations Development Program, UNDP, Nigeria, and the National Bureau of Statistics shows that 20% of the full-time workers in Nigeria lost their jobs during the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. adding further fuel to the unemployment situation in the country. Now, the Daily Independent newspaper, Jega Ahmed, Duke, who told me lead moves to upstage APC government, says nepotism, lack of exclusiveness gave rise to agitation. I think that should be lack of inclusiveness, not lack of exclusiveness. Yes. Now, laments insecurity, collapse of economy despite claim of GDP rise. And that same story is on the front page of the New Telegraph. Jega, Utomi, Abdul Fattah, Duke, others float third force platform to salvage country, fix the mess, set template for political positions. While, of course, the Daily Sun also reporting this story. 2023 election, Southern, Northern leaders join forces to fight PDP, APC, float new coalition. Adebanjo Adams replied, Baba Ahmed say, South doesn't need North's consent to govern Nigeria. Now, the new political party. I think we have seen this before. And some of these faces also were present ahead of the 2014 election, ahead of the 2019 election, talking of a third force. But I think by now, we should stop talking about third force. We just watch the party grow into a force, if they will eventually do. But again, some of the names are well-known names to Nigerians. Jegad, former INEC chair, who conducted the 2014 election. And of course, Patu Tomi, who just left this program, has been part of the force some time ago. Of course, he also hibernated in the APC last time around. And the politicians in Delta State dribbled him. And he came to this program. He had not seen that kind of action before. But Pat Utomi will be a good president, vice president, minister, any day. Whether he will be given the opportunity to put his great ideas to work in Nigeria, left to be seen. Somebody who had his experience as a young man serving in the administration of Shehu Shagari back in the Second Republic. Pat Utomi will welcome you any day. Now, the Punch newspaper. Experts lament as federal government spends 20 billion naira on idle Ajaokuta steel in 6 years. Recurrent expenditure gets 18.7 billion naira. Capital, 1.4 billion naira under Buhari regime. Yes, and we expect Ajaokuta to take off. Ajaokuta steel project, a waste of government scarce resources, say experts. Now, above the masthead of the Punch newspaper, 5 banks fined 1.4 billion naira for forex infraction others. Now you know that Godwin Emefiele, the governor of Central Bank, is very serious about banks who don't follow the path of rectitude when it comes to disbursing forex. Now, beside that story, UK employs 353 Nigerian doctors in 100 days. Yes, those that are still at home, they are on strike. But before long, I'm sure many will join. But it is not a good story for a country that don't have enough doctors to go around the population. Yet, these doctors are treated with levity. And those who know the value of these doctors, countries where health care is given top priority, like the UK, are winning our doctors, and they are fleeing in droves. Now, the Vanguard newspaper, policy somersaults drive auto industry off the roads. Chinese brands make inroads. 500 billion naira new investment rot away. Investors move to Ghana. Dealers see further decline. Blame policy of government. The story of the auto industry in Nigeria, while the prices of cars are going up, of course, sales expectedly going down. Daily Trust newspaper, despite huge reserve, Nigerians groan as cooking gas price keeps soaring. Marketers blame Forex, VAT, low supply. Will soon increase supply. NMPC. Yes, to do. You cook. In addition to worrying about the inflation that has hit food items, you have to worry about the soaring price of gas as well. And many families are complaining. Are they going to return to charcoal or firewood? Not good for the environment and the cutting down of trees to get firewood. But you expect that a country that is sitting on vast reserve of gas should not be part of this problem. But we will also say that there's gas shortage in the UK, in Europe. They are begging Russia to pump more gas into the system. Let's look at what the foreign newspapers are saying quickly. Now, New York Times, Biden reasserts role of America in world affairs. Yes, debut address at UN seeks to use relentless diplomacy to help counter autocrats. Yes, President Biden fighting mounting doubts about American allies, about his commitment to working with them, used the debut address to the UN on Tuesday to call for relentless diplomacy on climate change, the pandemic, and efforts to blunt the expanded influence of autocratic nations like China and Russia. How well he'll be able to do that remains to be seen, because China is not one that is ready to be contained. Militarily, economically, China is waxing strong. Now, the Wall Street Journal, Beijing's policy heightening risk for economy, tighter regulation of property developers, other private firms has weighed on growth. Now, Ruben, Rufai, and Tundu, over to you.
What did you actually make of Joe Biden's speech when he's talking about dignity and unity and what have you, and we can see the mess in the U.S. South border? I thought that was really unfortunate timing for that speech to be coming. And
Yes.
Xi Jinping, I caught that shade from Xi Jinping to the U.S., talking about how we are not the ones who try and assert ourselves on other countries. We're all about peace. We don't have this kind of hegemony, ambitions. Like, obviously, he's talking about the U.S. But my issue is for Boris Johnson. I just saw his picture on one of those covers there. What do you think of his little
Yes,
foray?
the Times of London, if we can put that there, is reporting that Prime Minister Boris Johnson UK seeking to join the North American Trade Group, and that trade group that includes America, Mexico, and Canada. So his trip to the US, of course, expectedly, having left the EU, Brexit success, the next big thing is to look for trade deals all over the world, and Prime Minister Boris Johnson seems to be doing that right now.
But how's that working out for him? Joe Biden doesn't seem particularly interested. So much for the special relationship.
Well, he's made a visit.
We need to move on, but very quickly, I'd like to draw attention to just three things. The first is this editorial in New Telegraph titled "On Malfunctioning Refineries and Ajaokuta Steel Complex."
Yes, we just talk about the waste.
Sometime in 1998, Nigeria had a major steel hub, across West Africa, and that Ajaokuta Steel Company was doing well. It was supposed to provide steel, for part of the development.
You said doing well, never took off really. Did it really take off? Never.
Well, but today, it's one of those abandoned assets of Nigeria. The same thing with with the refineries.
The steel factory that functioned was actually the Delta Steel factory. And we're producing billets, sending to Shogbo Rolling Mill and others.
Well, if
your dad worked there, Rufai.
Yes. If you go to Shogbo Steel Rolling Mill now, it's overgrown with wheat. Ajaokuta Steel is just something that has been abandoned, despite all the efforts that have been made. And we have many of these
and the once
assets.
functioning Delta Steel, there's been asset stripping by some Indians whom they claim
And
to
I
have
guess
sold that place to.
Maybe this is one of those assets that Dr. Doyin Salami was referring to, that maybe we should sell off some of our assets. And
It would be.
there's also a story in the papers about, what is it called? Network operators.
Okay.
Appealing to the NCC to allow them deduct the cost of diesel from what they call annual operating level, because they spend a lot of money on diesel.
Yes, they
And
do.
that in itself is an indication of the kind of crisis that those who do businesses in Nigeria face, because there's no regular electricity supply. The national grid, is down most of the time. Our companies now, have to say, well, if you are going to take annual operating levies from us, maybe you just deduct, the amount we spend on diesel as part of our operating cost. And that's the kind of embarrassment that we face. But we don't have more time, so we can only thank you very much, Emmanuel Ofene, and we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.